Hey everyone, it's Benji. It's been a lot longer than I meant it to be. And this is kind of a video that I've been dreading making, and I know it's already not exactly opening on, a good note, or a good tone, and I want to just come straight out of the gate there and apologize for that, and also apologize that it has been radio silence for so long. I mean, it's been probably close to a month and a half, maybe even longer than that. I don't actually know exactly how long it's been. Um, it's been since like mid-December, and it's February at the end of this week. So that's kind of interesting. Um, Sorry about that. The year has been, well, off to a bit of a rough start. I was gonna have a hiatus anyway because it was finals, and then it was Christmas, and then I was in Florida for a week for an aerospace conference. So I was away from home for about a month, give or take. The last like full day I spent in my apartment was like a week after the stream, and then it was finals, and then it was, you know, holidays and traveling and family, and then it was conference, and then it was the start of the semester. So that was all kind of planned, and I told everybody about that, and we knew about that, but it's been a couple extra weeks now. And I don't really want to get into too much details just for personal reasons. I'm not going to air any dirty laundry or throw anybody under the bus, or throw blame around or anything like that. But yeah, it's been a rough start to the year for me. Long story short, some family stuff happened, and that was pretty hard. And then I've talked very sparsely about a medical issue that I've been having for the past, gosh, almost, if not 4 years to the date, pretty much, that I've known about at least. And I'm on a new medicine for that, and that has not been going well. So my mental health is kind of in the trash, too. And then school things are school things, you know. I don't talk sparsely about it. I talk very often about how I'm a PhD student and aerospace engineering and all this stuff, right? So I've got a very, very big exam coming up in April that requires me to have knowledge of at least 8 different textbooks, most of which I know, but not all of which I know. And it basically determines whether or not I get to stay a PhD student, which is stressful and fun. So that's kind of happening. Gosh, I'm already rambling. Sorry, one piece of exciting news. Girlfriend has been promoted. Girlfriend is now fiance. So that's huge, and very important to both of us, both fiance and I. Not really appropriate to call her girlfriend anymore. So fiance and I. And there's a lot of planning that goes into wedding planning, and everything that relates to that. And then, of course, this big exam coming up in April. And to add some more to the plate, just in case there wasn't enough, my professor is trying to push for me to graduate sooner because I don't have any external funding. So I'm kind of in a mix hodgepodge of dealing with this new medicine, planning a wedding, preparing for an exam that determines if I get to stay a student, and also publishing 3 papers in a year, which is definitely a lot. So I dreaded making this, which is part of why it's been so long since you've heard from me. And also there's just been a lot going on, which is another reason why it's been so long since you have heard from me. But all that to say, I'm going to be taking a bit longer of a hiatus than I meant to, both including, you know, the length of the hiatus that it has already been, plus a little bit longer. So, it's currently the end of January, and you probably won't hear from me again until June, worst case scenario. I really don't want to stop doing YouTube in its entirety because it's fun and I love this community and everybody that's involved with it is great. So I love you guys a lot and I love what I've made here, so to speak. So I don't want to just like completely give it up. Not yet anyway. Eventually, the channel will shut down, but I kind of envision that as a future thing once Beyonce and I are married and, you know, kids are an option. But that's a couple of years from now, not right now, as it were. So I really don't want to stop YouTube entirely. But I need this semester to focus on studies and wedding things, and you know, there's bigger fish to fry than a weekly stream and a weekly YouTube video, if that makes sense. And I think it does. I think it does make sense, and I think you guys understand. You've always been very supportive and understanding of life things, which I'm also very, very, very appreciative of. So yeah, that's kind of how life has been and how I've been. I'm sorry that this video has been already so morbid, and whiny, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being insecure with the whole whiny thing. I don't want to ramble too much more, but I have played a little bit of Satisfactory off stream because I find it fun and it helps me relax. So I also wanted this to just be kind of a showing off of the little bit that I have done since the last time that we played together, which you're kind of looking at right now. I've done the tier 9 basic components, if you can call them basic. So yeah, I'm going to leave the update part of this as the first half, and that's that. Feel free to ask me anything in the Discord or in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer questions, even if that answer is just I don't want to talk about that, like the family thing, or you know, my medical things, because it's private. But I also feel like it's worth it for you guys to know that shit's happening, and I don't plan on going anywhere, but that doesn't mean I won't eventually. So yeah, content in June. If it ends up being earlier than that, I'll let you know, but I kind of doubt it. So let's move on from that and go into the quote-unquote basic tier 9 things. So if you remember, if you were here for some of the last streams, we set up a whole bunch of different shit that's coming in on trains and on belts. And the last thing I did was stuff on belts. So none of this was here. This is all new. But essentially, there is coal coming in here, and that goes that way. There's quartz, and that gets processed right there. There's iron, copper, deuterium, SAM, aluminum, and that goes that way too. I don't need much aluminum, so that's fine. But I needed a lot of limestone. I don't even remember exactly how much limestone this is, but it's 7 belts of 480 per minute. So 3,360 limestone per minute. Half of this entire bus is just giant belts of limestone, which is cool. And that is literally all for diamonds. There's a lot of coal and a lot of limestone that goes into making these diamonds. 140 per minute, if I remember correctly. The SAM and Caterium combine here to make fixite ingots and a converter. Converters are really cool because they fluctuate in power, which is kind of neat overall. Some of that's for storage because they're used in tier 6 belts, which I have up here ready to be like researched and everything. The diamonds make time crystals, which also go into storage, but also go into some other things, which is nice. And then the rest of the diamonds go for something over there that I'll get to in a minute. Most of the iron, copper, and quartz is for crystal oscillators. There's 5 per minute of those, so that's a thing that exists here. And then you can see we're bringing in supercomputers from the aluminum base, which is way up here. And then also time crystals, fixite ingots, and this glowy stuff. This glowy stuff is excited photonic matter, which is literally free. It's just energy, basically. That's all it is. It's just energy. So that's cool. And that makes neural quantum processors. And neural quantum processors then go into storage, or they split off and go away. That way nothing backs up. Because this is all very, very carefully balanced. And there's neural quantum processors. They actually look really, like, bland and plain. Which I'm slightly disappointed about, but that's okay. And that gives us a byproduct of dark matter residue. You'll also notice that this jumps around a lot, and that's the whole quantum aspect of things. It's simultaneously every single value in between these ranges, and it just fluctuates between them, which is fun. So all of these have a byproduct of dark matter residue, but only some of them have an input of these dark matter crystals. So dark matter crystals get made with diamonds in particle accelerators, and to make sure that nothing backs up, they go to a sink, just so that they overflow and don't end up clogging anything, because otherwise they totally and 100% would. Then time crystals, dark matter crystals, quartz crystals, and then over here, crystal oscillators and alclad aluminum sheets, as well as some excited photonic matter, which again is just free, come to make infinite power shards in these two guys. Cool. And then superposition oscillators over here, which is also cool. And these I'm actually quite happy with. Superposition oscillators, I think, are very, very cool. Because they kind of wobble. And then every now and then they just kind of go blah, 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 like that. They just blah, 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 which is neat, in my personal opinion. The animation for these guys is also really cool. And I have some cool screenshots of, like, this stuff. It's like Northern Lights, but not Northern Lights, I guess. Also, they're big and expensive. Very expensive. Very expensive. But they are literally longer than 6 tiles long, which means they do not fit in any of the Blueprint Designers, including the Blueprint Designer Mark III. So you can't just stick these guys into a blueprint, which is a little unfortunate. Even the particle accelerator is less than 5. Like, people were still able to make particle accelerators work in the 5x5 challenge, which is literally you get a 5x5 grid, and you can go from y = 0 to the build limit, but that's all the horizontal space you have for literally everything. Logistics, 5x5. Construction, 5x5. Resource processing and train infrastructure and stuff, as much as you like. You know, you don't have to feed shit by hand or anything like that. But everything. Power generation, 5x5. Everything in the 5x5. Which I attempted and got very frustrated with very quickly. So I stopped doing that. I thought about doing Sommersloop for these, but you don't need very many neural quantum processors. Like if I guess it's NEU. If I look it up, it's not used in any buildings as of yet. I think the only building it is used in is the Blueprint Designer Mark III. So, like, this just might be what I use for the AI expansion servers. I don't know. But we will see what ends up happening there. So yeah, that is what I've done and where I've been. I hope that kind of clears up any confusion. I hope you guys understand and aren't too upset at the fact that it took so long for me to make this video. My next kind of plans, so to speak, in June is just the final Phase 5 space elevator parts. There's the, ballistic warp drive, or whatever the heck it's called, this thing, the AI expansion server, and then the biochemical sculptor. And I'm going to be making all of those up here in the Dune Desert, using the nitrogen gas that's here, some oil that I left behind, as well as potentially some oil here. More than likely some oil here. More than likely some aluminum that I have not tapped here. Sulfur, there's some sulfur around in this area. There's a lot of coal, a lot of iron, a lot of copper, a lot of limestone, a lot of caterium here and like here-ish. No, it's like down here somewhere. I don't remember. It's around. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot. They are very expensive materials. I'll say that much. Magnetic field generators aren't exactly cheap. That's a lot of steel for the versatile frameworks, and the electromagnetic control rods are very complicated. The neural quantum processors are, not that bad in terms of time crystals. It's just limestone and coal, which is nice. Fixite ingots are just SAM and caterium, or even just SAM and iron, but SAM and caterium is the most caterium efficient, or the most SAM efficient, I believe. Excited photonic matter is free. Supercomputers are very expensive. That's for sure. Supercomputers are very expensive. Superposition oscillators are very easy. I mean, the dark matter residue kind of makes the dark matter crystals as a byproduct of all of this stuff. And then that's just more diamonds, which is just more limestone and coal, which is nice. The Alclad sheets is easy. The, crystal oscillators are expensive and bulky and big, but easy, all things considered. And then, yeah, excited photonic matter is just, it's free. So I don't really have to worry about that too much. The biochemical sculptor, I think, is going to be hard in terms of the assembly director system. Like, fixite trigons, so easy. It's just SAM and caterium. Water is free, but assembler director systems are supercomputers and adaptive control units. We'll already be making supercomputers because of everything else that's required here, at least for, the other part. But the adaptive control units are complicated, and automated wiring is complicated, etc. And it just kind of goes down that list here. I don't even think I have the ballistic warp drive. I know that turbo motors are a component of it. As is, I believe, the thermal propulsion rocket. Yeah, that one's going to be a bit of a bitch, too, because fused modular frames are a bitch. Cooling systems we'll already need for the supercomputers. Turbo motors are a bitch. And then the modular engines are also a bitch. So, there's going to be a lot that goes into this, and a lot of balancing and a lot of everything else. That's kind of going to be a passion project just on my own here while I'm on a bit of a hiatus. Is just going to be to, make up the spreadsheet, make up the plan, figure out where I'm getting things, and everything else of that nature. So, yeah. You can look forward to that in June. Sorry it's going to be so long, but I really need to take a step back here and focus on my studies a little bit more for all of this. So I appreciate your understanding in advance, and I hope you all have a, good spring. Stay warm. The brutal winter here in West Virginia. Fiance had like a couple weeks off school because of the snow. I even had a couple days that I worked from home because I didn't, it wasn't safe to go to campus. So stay warm and don't freeze and enjoy the weather and everything else. But yeah, that's gorgeous actually. Look at that. Sorry, OBS crashed. I got a little cut off unexpectedly there, but I can't be bothered to stitch it normally or stitch it in a way that makes sense. So you're just getting the stitch as if you were me, and it cut for like 2 minutes. So yeah, I was basically just rambling and thanking you all for being a part of the community. So genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being a part of the community. But without further ado, I'll see you all in June. So, adios, sayonara, au revoir, hasta la vista, das vidania, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, and goodbye. Have yourselves all a fantastic rest of your spring. Drink some water if you need to, get some sleep if you need to. Don't forget to stay hydrated. That's how it goes. And I'll see you in June. Later, y'all.